So today was day one with my training engineer. So why am I here recording? Kind of a fun story. All right. So yesterday, got up early in the morning, went to pick up the other guy that is going to be training with me out in Savannah, Georgia. So picked him up first thing in the morning. We drove down to Schneider, Atlanta, parked my car there, talked to driver services, and they got us an Uber over to the airport where we picked up a rental car and drove out to Savannah. Now it was about a 3-hour and 15 to 30 minute drive. And the funny thing is that the other guy with me was like, oh, I'll drive. So he started driving and he started shifting around a little bit. He claims he wasn't tired, but he was like, if you want to stop, let me know. And I was good. So I was like, I'm fine. If you want me to take over, I will. He's like, oh, no, I'm fine. And he was telling me that he was perfectly fine driving. He's used to long hours. I'm like, well, I'm used to long hours. And I'll be fine, Anyway, it was kind of funny because as we progressed, he was just like, he would say off and on, I am getting hungry, So I was like, well, what do you want? And I started naming restaurants. And he's like, Wendy's. So I look and there's a Wendy's a little bit off of our path. It's like we're going this direction, but we could go up here and then take another little road down. And he's like, no detours. So he didn't want to go 29 miles on back roads in order to get to a Wendy's. So we just continued to power on out there, and he was being tough about it, but I could tell he was tired. Anyway, we got there to Savannah where we were going to be staying at the hotel. He wanted Wendy's, so we stopped by Wendy's and then checked in at the hotel. Oddly, he checked into the hotel, and they did not have my name in the system. So I was about to start calling driver services, and then then the other guy said, well, I have 2 beds in mind. I wonder if they put us together. And I said, what's your confirmation number? And we checked, and it's the same confirmation number. Would have been great if we would have known we were together. Doesn't matter. No problem. So we got up there and dump off the bags. My grandfather lives near there. So I contacted him a few days before when I found out I was going to be out in Savannah and said, hey, would you like to have dinner? Because his wife is currently out of town in middle America, actually with my mom, and they're clearing out her mom's house. She died not long ago, and they're selling off the estate and selling the house and selling off different things. So that's what they're doing. And so my grandfather hasn't had her home. So I said, hey, I'm going to be out there. Would you like to have dinner? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So he came by and picked me up about an hour later, and we were thinking about places to go. And I was like, well, what's good? And he's like, well, I'm thinking, how about a roadhouse place? I'm like, oh, I could go for steak, no problem. So we go to the Texas Roadhouse, and we eat there. And I tell you, I ate much more food than I thought I was going to. Combination plate with an 8-ounce sirloin and some ribs. Ate too much bread, ate a Caesar salad, ate some potatoes, potato wedges, whatever, French fries, whatever you want to call them, after a 45-minute wait. And then when we finished, he was full. I was full, didn't want to have dessert, and he dropped me back off at the hotel. We had visited, together for about 2 hours at that point, and got back to the hotel. The nice, cool hotel room was scorching hot, in my opinion. Now, granted, the time I'm shooting this, it's summer. So today it was a high of 96 in Savannah. So I walk into the room, and my roommate, the guy I'm training with, he's from Haiti. He's used to very hot weather. So he had killed the air, the thermostat, and just turned it off. And our double windows, big, huge windows, he had pulled it back so he could see out the window. And it ends up being that the sun is setting directly through that. So all these long beams of sun rays are coming straight through. And this hotel room is hot. I look down at the thermostat at 77 degrees, which is hot. Plus, you're indoors and the sun is directly just blasting onto you. And I was like, are we really going to be dealing with this? Well, another thing is, he talks loud. He's very confident in himself. He's a very strong dude, and he talks loud. So the entire drive, it was like my yelling voice is his talking volume. And when we got there, I walk in there and he's watching, I think the end of Leviathan. And I had to look it up because I was like, what is this movie? And it is just blasting. He's also in the corner of the room looking, I guess, at TikTok, going through videos and blasting those too. So I was just like, anyway, so I like it cold in the room. I watch a little bit of Leviathan. I'm just tuning things out. Edge of Tomorrow comes on. Love that movie. I was taking a shower, took a shower, came out and missed the beginning of Edge of Tomorrow. But, hey, it's a good movie. I watched it. At least some of it. I was busy doing some other things. And then, what was the other one? The Die Hard movie that came out in like 2007 or whatever with the guy from the Mac and PC commercials and the Apple guy. What's his name? Justin Long. I had to IMDb him because I was like, has he done anything? But apparently he has. So, watched that one. And as the sun was setting, it started to get a little bit cooler. A little bit. It wasn't scorching. I was literally sweating in the room. I was just sitting there and I was sweating. So as the sun set, I said, are we leaving the thermostat are we leaving the thermostat off? Well, actually, I take that back. I was about to ask him when I saw him go over there and turn it on. I was like, thank you. And so I said, all right, good. I was starting to wonder about that. And he said, no, we can turn the temperature, down if you want. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And, I decided to ask him, since he was, in fairness, he was in the room before me. He was the room is technically in his name. I know he's a nice guy. He's going to be courteous to me, but, my house, we've kept him between 62 and 64 degrees for a while. It's usually very cold in my house year round. I love it. And, I knew he was not going to want to have it that low. So since the thermostat was said 77, it was starting to circulate some air. I said, what temperature do you want it? He says, I don't know how to set it. Well, it's electronic and I'm good with electronics. So I went ahead and started setting. I said, where do you normally keep your house? He said about 70. I said, okay, well, that's a good compromise because it's 77 now. I like it 62, 70 is right in the middle. So I was like, all right, that's good. So I turned it to that and instantly the room starts getting cooler. It becomes much more habitable. We ended up having a really bad storm that came through about 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit after. And it was like torrential downpour, lightning all over the sky. It was crazy. And it only lasted really bad for about half an hour, a little bit longer, with the rain and stuff. And shortly thereafter, I call it a night. But because the hotel that they put us in, Country Inn Suites, had a satellite dish, it knocked out satellite. So so the Die Hard movie was not able to finish. And I went ahead and killed the TV because he was over there looking at TikTok. I have kids. I have been in places where you have to sleep in noises and I can tune them out. Just brain filters it out there. Pulvinar nuclei in action. That's the part of the brain that filters out things that are not desirable or not necessary to process. So don't ask me how I know that. So I go ahead and lay down. I've already gotten everything in order and I just lay down, throw over the lightest sheet in that bed over me and start to go to sleep. It was a while later that he looked over, realized I was asleep and he went ahead and decided, I guess, to head on to bed too. I'm the kind of person that gets up with the single alarm. The alarm goes off. It's not a very loud thing. It just instantly I wake up and turn off the alarm and start my day. I'm literally standing up about 20 seconds after my alarm goes off. I'm that person. I don't require caffeine and I just naturally get up to my alarm. I don't ignore it. So my alarm went off. I stand up. I started getting myself in order. And originally I'm trying to do it with just my cell phone light. But then after a while I thought about it. It's like 3:45 a.m. He wanted to leave by 4. I don't think that's going to happen. But we didn't need to be there until 5. And Ricky he's our training engineer. He even said, you don't have to be here right at 5 if you're running a little late. I understand. Well, neither one of us want to be late. We're both in our 40s and we understand the importance of being on time. So I got up, I started getting things going. I got all my stuff packed up. I got my clothes on and then he jumped, and then my roommate jumps up and he goes over there and starts work, getting things ready. And he takes his bag down. I grab my 2 bags, leave. He comes back for his suitcase and to pack up last little bit. We check out of the hotel. He says, "You're going to drive? No problem." I already had the coordinates from where we're going to meet up, because it's a little bit hard to find based on the road address, because it doesn't really go anywhere. It's a parking lot for Schneider vehicles. So I already put in my phone and found the location. So I turn navigation on my phone and we head out. We're driving. We get there about 4:45. Go ahead and start our day. Come to I go all the way to the very back of the lot. I see a car, headlights on way deep. So I drive back there to see what's going on. And I follow a truck back to the front, where I decide that he and I both decided that we were going to just park near the front there and wait for Ricky to arrive. And so Ricky it ends up that Ricky was that truck that was back there, and he had already done his pre-trip and gotten ready. So we start off the day by doing a nice, good, thorough pre-trip of a truck that we did not know. It is not a Freightliner Cascadia. His is an International. And he requested it because the front area of it, he could put a second mount for another tablet that he uses for navigation sometimes when the system doesn't work exactly the way he wants it to. It can give him better satellite viewing and stuff like that. It's a really cool little program he has too. And then the front of the Freightliner it's kind of pointed like this. And as a training engineer, he's sitting to the passenger side seat and the tablet's pointing away. So he requested a International, because the point isn't as prominent, and you can and the mount sticks out more, so you can turn it towards and he can see that. And so he can see things on the dash a little easier and see the tablet easier when he's instructing. So he started off by going over a few things. He said, we're going to do our first load securement check at a Love's that's about 27 miles away from where we were. So we headed out there. He says, I'm going to drive, and kind of glad he did, because I was in the back seat. It was dark, very dark out there. And the only thing you see on the side of the truck is a few lights. And not knowing where things were, I would have had to guess where the roads were and stuff like that. I probably would be okay, but it's always nicer to have somebody. And also the roads over there in that part of Savannah was kind of weird. It's like the right lane has a bunch of cars parked in it. So they have a sign that says truck should push left. Weird that they put that's the truck lane, even though there's a perfectly good U.S. highway, a couple of streets over, like a mile or something over. Anyway, that's where they want you to drive in a truck. So it's really weird. Anyway, we got to the Love's, kind of did our load securement check out there, which is within the first 50 miles. So we're compliant with the DOT. And then from there, we basically head on out. The other guy jumps in the driver's seat and he drives for just under 100 miles, where we stop and fuel at a Pilot. And then we, from there, do another load securement check. It's a requirement. Ricky he's a flatbed driver, but he's got curtains on the side. So what is it? Is it called a Conestoga? Conestoga is what I've always referred to him. I think that's what it is, if it's like a flatbed, but it has curtains. So, I think that's what it is. Basically, you still have to do load securement checks and stuff like that, because it still secures to the outside. Anyway, so we if I mispronounce that, please tell me in the comments, phonetically spell it out or something. But that's what I've called it. So anyway, he drives out there. We get to our next load securement area. At that point, we've already refueled. We do another load securement check. And after he had driven almost 200 miles, we stop it in Jackson, Georgia, at a Flying J over there, and I take over. But here's the fun thing. The first thing in the morning when he starts his shift, he's Monday through Friday, he leaves, and then he comes back on Fridays. Now, the reason I say this is fun is because over the weekend, his electrical system was starting to act up. It had been slowly starting to act up over the course of time, but it had been getting progressively worse. So he says, you know what? I think I'm going to have to get it serviced, because it's not getting better. It's getting worse. And he started to explain the problem to me, and it sounded to me like it wasn't that he's like, well, it's supposed to do this, but it's not, and it's not doing this. It's not holding a charge. It's draining the batteries. I'm like, sounds like you have an electrical issue. Something's probably not wired correctly. And so he's like, yeah. He was telling me already before I even said that he thinks that if he doesn't have to pick up at his first client, which is Northwest Georgia, northwest of Atlanta, he said, I'm going to see if I can stop by Schneider and let them look at the truck in Atlanta. So there we go back to Atlanta. So we basically from there where it was, I took over, drove us back into the Schneider OC. We uncouple, we drop off his trailer, and then drive his tractor over to the service department. And they say they're not going to be able to get to it until late tonight. So at that point, we were back, and so we worked on a few things on the tablet. He has to go over a bunch of things on the tablet. He showed us a bunch of things. We set up some apps like that they need to be set up the proper way. That was not part of our training, and then at 3-something, we went ahead and we finished up the stuff. We did post trip. We did all the things that we need to, submitted our DVIRs. And then we called it a day. Now, the other guy, he went to the hotel where he had been staying during training. And I went home because if I can see my girls, I will. Originally, I was like, I can go to the hotel. But my wife said, no, come home. And I was like, okay, good. That's really what I wanted to hear. Anyway, went home. After I'd gotten home I only just left yesterday morning, so it's not like I've been gone a long time, but that's the reason why I ended up being back home. So when I got home, I grabbed a little bit of a snack, and then I drive a few places. My wife had to do something for a work-related thing, and then we dropped by Publix, got some popcorn chicken and potato wedges, got back to the house, ate that as a family, and then I went upstairs, and there's this ad-libbing movies and stuff that my girls do, and it's silly, and we kind of recreate slight minor plots and have used movie characters and stuff like that. And they're not exactly right. They're sometimes different. But anyway, we kind of played and did that, took a shower, and basically hung out with the girls a little bit longer, and then am now about to call it a night. Now, because the truck is being serviced, we're still going to be at the Atlanta OC. Ricky wants to be useful to us. So he said, how's your backing? Because we can practice maneuvers and stuff. And so I think that is going to be mainly what we do tomorrow if the truck is not ready overnight. Now, they're going to be looking at it tonight, sometime probably after midnight. So poor Ricky's going to have to get up and let them work on the truck or whatever. And we'll see tomorrow if the truck is ready. We might have to get a loaner and then work on that there. But what we do know is that we're going to be going, if we're at the Atlanta OC tomorrow, then Wednesday for sure, which is 2 days from now, we're going to head up to pick up whatever it is and start deliveries. Now, he did say, I said, are we starting at 5 a.m. every day? Because I'm fine with it. He says, no, Thursday is my early morning, and that's at 2 a.m. You know what? Truth be known, I've been curious as to what it's like driving late night. I know the drivers can be crazy, but I also know there's not traffic and people as much on the road. So that sounds kind of appealing to me. I'm interested to see how it goes. So I will be very well rested, and I will be fully happy to jump behind the wheel that early in the morning. So that will be Thursday. And then Friday, he kind of finishes his deliveries and stuff, whatever he has going. And it could be that we're done in the early to mid afternoon. He's a very good instructor. He's a very good training engineer. He has a lot of questions, but if he doesn't know something, he says, well, let me see if I can find the answer. And he tries to look it up. And if he can't find the answer, he says, let me see what I can find out, and he'll get back. There are some things that we're just not able to find out, like how other apps work that are not related to Schneider. I do ask a lot of questions. And so, that's my nature. And today, day one went well. Tomorrow, I'm happy that if we're going to be grounded back at the Atlanta OC, we're going to be working on backing. You can't ever get too much experience with that, especially if you have a flatbed or in this case, Conestoga, because you can't go past like 60 degrees and stuff. Some of the rules are kind of that way. So it's kind of cool that we're going to be doing that. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. And I'll talk to you, I guess, on Friday or maybe Saturday whenever I'm done with this training week, and we'll give an update then. Thanks for watching.